Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. So, as promised, I'm going to demonstrate the cooking of my meatballs in bulk, my Italian meatballs. Okay, so first I'm going to show you the ingredients, and don't be alarmed, there's quite a lot of ingredients here. I'm sure most of you won't cook this amount of bulk, but my way of thinking is this, that look, it's quite a long process anyway, and so you might as well cook a substantial amount, and then it'll just last you that much longer, because of course we're going to freeze them, and I'll just take one out a day. So let's have a look at the ingredients and then we'll get started. So here we have, first of all, the meat. So like I told you, there's a lot. There's a kilogram of lamb shoulder. Actually, my butcher delivered me too much pork, so I won't put all that pork in. I buy my ground meat in bulk as well, but this was a custom order just for the meatballs, and a kilogram of minced chuck steak. Okay, so that's the meat. Now, look at this lot. Okay, I'm not sure whether I'll use all that, so passata and cirio tomatoes. So what I'll do, I'll just eyeball it as I'm going. I'll probably only use one bottle of passata there. What I do with those tomatoes is I put them in one of these utensils first and use that potato masher just to mash them, not completely smooth, because I do like a few lumps in the tomatoes, but of course they have to be mashed up a little bit. So here we have also 2 onions. So reduce it to your amount of meat. What I'm showing you now, however much meat you're going to use, reduce the vegetables. So this is for the sofrito. We're going to make the sofrito for the meatball mix and the salsa. The salsa obviously going to be made in there. So here we have 2 onions. There's a few cloves of garlic there. Okay, I've got 3 carrots, 3 celery sticks, and I like to use 1 red chili pepper. Absolutely under no circumstances use a green chili pepper, okay? You're just going to ruin the taste altogether. The red chili pepper just gives it a subtle sort of zing to it, very subtle, okay, and that's what you want. Lots and lots of parsley. Don't spare the parsley. That's going in both the salsa, the sauce, and the meatball mix. Okay, salt and pepper. There we are. Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. Look how much I've grated. Don't spare the cheese. Okay, do not spare the cheese. This is that's all going into the meatball mix, not the salsa. Okay, and I have here is sourdough bread. It's got no additives. You know I'm very, very low carb, and so this is going to get soaked in water and wrung out before it gets put into the meatball mix. So what I've got there is, there's just 3 slices of sourdough bread, and of course it's going to be much less if your meat is much less. Okay, so there we go with the ingredients. Now these ingredients are going to get blended up. I'm going to show you the consistency when I've done it in the NutriBullet. Now to blend these ingredients in the NutriBullet, you're going to have some oil or butter. I would recommend butter. I use Kerry Gold butter. There's my chunks of butter that are going to get melted first, and then I'll add that to the NutriBullet with these ingredients, and it'll we'll get a very smooth consistency. Alright then, here we go. So there's the Sofrito mix, and there's quite a substantial amount. I repeat, because I'm making a substantial amount of meatballs, that's why. So now I'm going to split this, half for the meatballs and half for the sauce mix, the salsa. Okay, so we've got to get the sauce going, because that's going to take the best part of an hour. While the sauce is cooking and doing its thing, I'm going to get on with the meatballs. Alright, so I've took half of the Sofrito out of there and spooned it into the pan. So we're going to get that going, and that's going to have to be constantly stirred for about 5 minutes so it doesn't burn before I add the tomatoes. Okay? Now, I forgot an ingredient earlier on. Of course, we need a couple of eggs. If you're going to make a lot less than I'm making, then you know one egg will be sufficient. Okay, and also you might have noticed I don't use any sugar in my sauce ingredients in the Sofrito, because you really don't need it. The carrots in the Sofrito mix will make these sauce sweet enough. Okay, so sugar absolutely not needed. Okay, but of course it's your choice. So I used both tins of tomatoes, and then, like I said, I mashed them up in this receptacle here. I don't want them totally smooth. As you can see, it's a little bit lumpy still, and that's how I like it. So I used 1 whole bottle of passata. Don't forget to rinse the bottle out. Look, that's half full of water now. Don't waste any of that lovely passata, okay? And periodically as you go, you'll find the sauce thickening up, and so you will have to add more water anyway. So we need this fully cooked before we add the oven baked meatballs to this. And then we'll remove the meatballs. I'll show you as we go. We'll remove the meatballs, and what we're left with is an absolutely delicious tasting sauce. And what I do with the sauce, I have quite a few passata bottles, and I'll put single portions in each passata bottle. Again, I think I've mentioned it, you know I'm very, very low carb, so I don't eat these meatballs and this lovely sauce with any type of pasta. What I do is I eat it with a meat meal. Now if you look back to one of my recent videos here on YouTube, you will see low carb bulk cooking, and that's the meal that I have every night, with added 2 eggs and a meatball. So it's a fantastic meal, and I'll repeat again, the reason I'm eating, one of the main reasons I'm eating this way is because my lack of teeth. Isn't that pretty? And I won't get my new teeth until January 25. I'm stuck for choices, and this is very, very easy to eat, and it's so tasty. What I did was I decided to add the final bottle of passata, because I realised I needed more volume, because each meatball, when cooked, after they've been baked in the oven, they need to be submerged in this sauce. The fire's on now, it's cooking, and like I said, periodically I'll be adding water as it thickens up. Okay, so I'm going to get on with the meatball mix, and I'll show you part way through how we're doing. Salt and pepper added, and I'm just about to stir it up. Turn the fire down and put the lid on. Well, I'll crack the lid. Don't put the lid fully on. Regarding the salt and pepper, remember the old adage, you can add to but you can't take away. So make sure you don't put too much of each in the sauce, okay? You can always add as you go on. Right, that's all the ingredients added, including salt and pepper. There's a ton of meat in there, so there's going to be a lot of meatballs. Oh, I forgot I forgot the twist to the ingredients. It's my dear late mum's twist of an ingredient to the mix, and that's a handful of sultanas. Trust me on that, she was dead right. Bless your mum, she was dead right. It adds a lovely flavour to the meatballs, but don't add too many sultanas, otherwise you'll overpower it, okay? So the ratio has to be your decision as to how much ingredients there are in here, okay? So you're going to have to judge that if you want to use sultanas, and if you don't have to, okay? So I'm going to mix this up, and then I'll show you it mixed up, and I'm going to warm the oven up for them to go in to be baked. Oh, and before these go in the oven, I'm going to put them in the only reason it's the freezer and not the fridge, I want this chilling down quickly, so when I roll the meatballs they don't fall apart, okay? Now the sauce is, I'm bringing it to a boil before I turn the fire down, and then it's going to be turned right down, and I'll stir it periodically every 15 minutes or so. You don't want anything sticking, and it gives you a chance just to taste whether you need more salt and pepper. I forgot to explain this. I'm just going to show you how I prepare the sourdough bread to add to the ingredients here before I start mixing. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put the camera here. Should be able to see that. So I've added cold water to this Tupperware. These are all very wet now. You don't want to put them in wet. The meatballs will fall apart. So, but they don't need to be dry either, otherwise it just won't mix properly. So this is how I do this. So take a slice that's very, very wet. Sourdough bread will just fall apart when you squeeze it, so you need to just get it all in your hand like a sponge and really squeeze it out. Squeeze as much water out as you can, as much as you can. All right, it now looks like, let me show you, it now looks like that, but it's going to fall apart very, very easily when I start adding it to the mix. If you have a look, you see how it crumbles. This is how you want the consistency. You want this consistency very, very crumbly. Okay, make sure you've got very, very tiny pieces as you're crumbling it into your mix. Okay, so let's do that again. So you get your, squeeze it out, I mean really squeeze it so there's nothing left in there. we just want the crumbly bread. There we are. So it looks like that. Okay? Just crumble it in. Break up any large pieces. You can even take the crusts out if you want, if they won't break up properly. There are a couple here that won't break up properly, but the rest of it does. And that's how the sauce is looking now. Okay, I've turned the fire right down. Now I'm going to add the lid, re-add the lid, and let it do its thing. So there's the meatball mix, properly mixed up. And little change, what I decided to do was add the other ½ kilogram of pork mince. So there's a very substantial amount now. And also the parsley that I divided, well, I put most of it into here, into the meatball mix. With about 20 minutes to go with the sauce, I will add the rest of the parsley. Okay, so, oh yeah, so now this is going into the freezer to firm up a little bit. Shouldn't take long, 15 minutes will do it. So I'm now going to switch on the oven to bring it up to heat so I can roll them and place the meatballs straight in. And how I prepare that is like this. I bake them in a large receptacle like that, and I don't throw these away, I just wash them out. But before I place them in the tray, I melt some more butter and grease the whole bottom of the tray. And I might even use this one as well, because I've got a substantial amount. I have a strong feeling that they're not all going to fit in just one. I think I'm going to be well over. I'm probably going to be closer to two of these. Let's continue. So, melted butter in the silver foil. I've got that one on standby. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to use it. The oven is warmed up to 150 degrees Celsius, and they're going to take about, well, mine are going to take a little bit longer because they're going to be giant size. So I'll leave mine in for about between 40 and 45 minutes. This mixture now has just this second come out of the freezer, so it's nice and cold and they won't fall apart. Famous last words. No, they won't. They won't fall apart. I've got some melted butter there on standby for that one. So all that's left to do is roll the meatballs. So let's go. When I was actually mixing it with my hands, get your hands in there. Get your hands right in there, because and when you think you've mixed it up enough, mix some more. Alright, make sure you do a thorough job. That's the size that I have the meatballs. Most people won't have them that size. They'll probably do them half the size. I like them large so I can just add one to my meal every evening. Okay? So we'll just roll a couple. I'll show you a couple and then I'll show you them all in the trays. So I'm just rolling them like this. Okay? Look at that. Lovely. Got my sultanas in there. The twist from my dear late mum. The parsley. Lovely. All the ingredients together. So tasty, I can't even tell you. Okay? Right, here we go. There they are. Look at the size of them then. They're beautiful. It's 22 of them. Okay, big giant size. And in the meantime, the sauce is already done, so I'm going to take it off the fire until these come out of the oven. And then of course these will be dunked into here for another 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and then that's the job done. I've since added, I don't know whether I said salt and pepper, of course, drop of red wine and more water. Okay, and like I say, it's done now, so I need to get these in the oven. This takes quite a lot of time. This is why I cook the quantity that I do, because I'm not going through this every week, you know. Whoops, I forgot I was filming. And so it's no big deal, but I forgot I was filming, and I forgot to show you what they look like when they came out of the oven. It's no big deal, because all I did was take them out of the oven and transfer them to actually 2 pots. I divided up the sauce because they were so big, the meatballs. I decided to transfer some of that sauce to another pot and then divide the meatballs up to both pots. And I added more water. Don't be frightened of adding water, and they're just about done. They came out of the oven, they were probably in there, I do it by eyeball, I don't do it by time, but probably about 40 minutes, and in here about the same. So I'm about to turn the fire off. I'm going to transfer them to this receptacle with some sauce, and then I'll show you before I separate them individually to freeze them. Of course, they've got to be properly cooled before I freeze them. Right, does it look like the job was worth it? Took a lot of time, but well worth it. Beautiful. And one of them is going on top of my dinner in a couple of hours. It's going to cool down. There's more sauce that I'm going to divide up into single portions in my passata bottles, look. And then those passata bottles will cool and go into the freezer. So they'll keep forever, same as these. I mean, I might only have these meatballs every other day because my evening meal is lovely anyway. So just so these last a bit longer, I might just have them every other day. So there they are, easy as that. Like I said, have a go yourself. You've got nothing to lose. And so tasty, honestly, really. Now all I ask you is to like and subscribe. Not difficult, or I'll find you and beat you with my shoe if you don't. Alright? Alright, bye for now. See you next time.